He didn't trust people, not their words, not their promises, only what they did when they thought no one was watching. So when the child showed up, he gave her water, nothing more. When the mother followed, he gave her work, nothing else. No questions, no kindness, no welcome. Just silence, and a life hard enough to make most people leave. But she didn't. The sun sat high and merciless, pressing down on the land until it shimmered. Not a road in sight, not a tree tall enough for shade, just cracked earth stretching until the horizon gave up trying to hold it. That's where he saw her. At first, he thought she wasn't real. A trick of heat, a shape moving where nothing should. But she kept coming. Small, unsteady, alone. He reined in his horse, watched. She didn't wave, didn't call out, didn't even look around. She just walked, like stopping wasn't an option anymore. He dismounted, boots sinking slightly into the hot dust. The world was quiet, too quiet. When she finally noticed him, she stopped, looked up. Her face was streaked with dirt, hair tangled, dress stiff with dust and sweat. But her eyes, steady, too steady. Not fear, not relief, something older. He crouched down in front of her, slow, careful, pulled the canteen from his saddle, held it out. Water. His voice sounded rough, like it hadn't been used much. She didn't take it right away. Her gaze moved from the canteen to his face, measuring. The same way he measured everything. A long moment passed. Then she stepped forward, small fingers brushing his hand as she took the canteen. She drank. Too fast. Water spilling down her chin, soaking into the front of her dress. He didn't stop her, didn't say anything. When she finished, she handed it back. Careful, deliberate, still silent. He stood, looked out across the empty land. Nothing. No wagon tracks, no riders, no sign anyone had been here before her. No one coming for her. He looked down again. She was still watching him, waiting, not asking. He could leave, ride on, forget this. Out here, people disappeared all the time, and no one came looking. He glanced toward the horizon, where his cabin sat, barely visible against the dust. Not a place for a child. Not a place for anyone. But the sun wasn't letting up, and her shadow was getting smaller. He made the decision the same way he made all of them. Quiet. Final. He lifted her. She weighed almost nothing. Set her in front of him on the saddle. She didn't resist. Didn't question. Just leaned back against his chest and closed her eyes. Like she had already decided he was where she would stop. The ride back was slow. The heat pressed in on all sides, dust rising with every step. He looked down at her once. She was asleep, breathing soft, even. And something shifted, small, unwelcome, like a door that had been closed too long starting to give. He didn't like that feeling, didn't trust it. So he ignored it, focused on the road, on the work waiting for him, on the life he had built to keep everything else out. The cabin stood where it always had, weathered, silent, unchanged, until now. The cabin wasn't built to welcome anyone. It stood low against the wind, its wood bleached pale by years of sun. Nothing extra, nothing wasted. Inside, one bed, one table, one chair that had been repaired more times than replaced. A place meant for one man and no one else. He set her down on the cot. She didn't wake, didn't move, just kept breathing like sleep was the only thing her body still trusted. He stood there for a moment, watching, not with concern, with calculation. Then he turned away. Work first, always. He poured water into a small pot, set it over the stove. Dried apples, hard bread, a strip of jerky, food that kept a man alive, not one that comforted. He hesitated, then added more water, let the apples soften longer than usual. A small change, one he didn't explain. When she woke, the light had shifted, golden now, lower. She sat up slowly, looked around. No panic, no confusion, just observation. The walls, the table, him. Always him. He set the bowl down, gestured. Eat. She slid off the bed, bare feet silent on the floor, took the seat across from him, ate slowly, carefully, like every bite mattered, like it might be taken away. He watched her, not obvious, not intrusive, just aware. "What's your name?" His voice was low. She finished the last spoonful, set it down neatly, then looked up. Only. The word barely carried. Soft, precise. He nodded once. "I'm Griffin." That was enough. No more questions, no past, no story. Names were all he needed. That night he didn't take the bed. He spread a saddle blanket by the hearth, lay down there. Not uncomfortable, just correct. The fire crackled low, and for the first time in years, the silence in the cabin changed. It wasn't empty anymore. It had weight. The sound of another person breathing, small, steady. He didn't sleep much, didn't need to. He listened instead, to the rhythm, to the presence, to something unfamiliar settling into his space, something he hadn't allowed in a long time. Morning came early. He was already outside before the light fully broke, fixing the fence line, checking the posts. Routine, control. Inside, she woke alone. Didn't call out, didn't search. She stepped outside, found him, watched, and stayed quiet. He noticed, Of course he did, but said nothing. If she wanted to stay, she would find her place. That was the rule. Unspoken, but absolute. The day passed like that. He worked, she followed. Not close enough to be in the way, not far enough to be gone. Watching everything, learning without asking. By evening, she knew where the water was kept, where the tools were hung, which boards creaked and which didn't. She adapted, faster than most. He noticed that, too. Didn't comment, but it stayed with him. That night she slept again on the cot, and again he took the floor, the pattern forming without being spoken. That's how it always started. Not with trust, not with kindness, with endurance. On the third day, something changed. He saw it before he heard it, a shape on the horizon, moving, not drifting like the child had, purposeful, direct, coming for something. He straightened slowly, eyes narrowing. Behind him, only stepped closer, her small hand gripping the back of his shirt. He didn't move away, didn't acknowledge it, but he didn't stop her either. The figure grew clearer. A woman, walking, not stopping, not slowing, just like the child had. But this time she wasn't lost. She was looking for something, and this time it was going to find him. She didn't slow down, not when the cabin came into view, not when she saw him standing there. Just kept walking. Each step measured, forced. Like stopping would mean she wouldn't start again. Up close, the difference was clear. She wasn't lost. She was running out of time. Her dress had once been fine, deep red, silk. Now dust-stained, torn at the hem, clinging where sweat had dried. Her hair was pinned back, but strands had come loose, framing a face drawn tight with exhaustion. Still, her posture held. Not pride, control. She stopped a few feet away. Her eyes went to him first, then past him to the child. Everything in her changed. A breath caught, a step forward, too fast. Only the word broke out of her before she could hold it back. The girl moved instantly, no hesitation, ran to her. For the first time, sound. Small arms wrapping tight, face buried against her. The woman dropped to her knees, pulled her close, held her like she was making up for every second she had lost. Words spilled out, soft, urgent, in a language he didn't understand, but he didn't need to. Relief sounds the same in every language. He stepped back, gave them space, didn't interrupt, didn't insert himself into something that wasn't his. He had found the child. That was where his part ended. Or it should have. After a while, the woman looked up. Her eyes met his. Clear now, focused, not weak, not grateful in the way most people were. Something else. Awareness. She stood slowly, kept one hand on the child's shoulder. Thank you. Her English was careful, accented, but steady. You saved her. He gave a small nod. She needed water. Nothing more. No claim, no credit. Her gaze moved around the cabin, the fence, the dry ground, the patched wood, taking it all in, understanding it, measuring it. She saw what it was. Hard land, hard life, not a place that gave anything freely. She looked back at him. "We won't stay long." A beat. "I can work." Not a request, a statement. "I will earn what we use." He didn't answer right away, just watched her. The dress, the hands. Fine fabric, but the hands, calloused, used. She wasn't what she looked like. Good. That made things easier. "The well needs hauling," he said. "The garden's dying. The roof leaks when it storms." No softness, no adjustment, just truth, hard and plain. A test. Most people would hesitate, ask questions, look for something easier. She didn't. She gave a small nod. "I understand." No complaint, no bargaining, just acceptance. Not of charity, of terms. Behind her, only looked up at him, quiet, watching. He didn't look back, didn't acknowledge her, but he noticed. He noticed everything. That was the point. The sun was dropping lower now, light turning softer, long shadows stretching across the dirt. The woman didn't wait, didn't rest. She moved toward the well, found the rope, the bucket, started working. Slow at first, then steady. Pull, lift, carry. Again, again, again. He leaned against the post, watched, not helping, not interfering, just watching. This was where people showed who they were. Not when they spoke, not when they were seen, but when they thought no one was keeping count. The bucket slipped once, water spilling into the dust. She didn't react, just reset, pulled again. Her arms shaking now, but still moving, still working, still staying. The girl sat near the porch, silent again, watching her mother, watching him, learning something she wouldn't understand yet. By the time the sun disappeared, the garden was dark with water, the ground drinking it in slowly. Not enough, not yet, but alive. She stood there for a moment, breathing hard, face streaked with dirt, dress no longer red, just earth. Then she turned, met his eyes, didn't ask if it was enough, didn't need to. She already knew the answer. He gave a single nod, barely there, but it meant something. Inside, the air had changed again, not just filled, shared. The next morning she was awake before him, not by much, but enough. He stepped outside to find the well rope already in motion. Pull, lift, carry. The rhythm had changed. It wasn't forced anymore. It belonged to her now. He didn't say anything, just picked up his tools and walked past. If she wanted to stay, she would keep proving it. If she didn't, she would leave. Simple. That's how it always worked. But she didn't leave. Day after day she worked, not faster than necessary, not slower than expected, just steady. The garden began to shift, green pushing through dry soil, small at first, then undeniable. Inside, things changed too. A shirt left torn returned whole. A pan left dirty, clean before morning. Water always filled, fire always ready. No words, no thanks, just continuation. He noticed everything, but said nothing. That was part of the test. The child only moved between them, quiet, observing. She sat beside her mother, learning to stitch, small hands, clumsy at first, then better. She followed him outside, watching him mend leather, fix fence posts, check the land. Sometimes she copied him, a piece of twine, a broken stick, her face serious, focused. Once she laughed, soft, unexpected, at a calf stumbling in the dirt. The sound carried. Both adults paused, just for a second, then went back to work. But something lingered, something neither of them named, something dangerous, not to the land, to him. One evening she spoke first. He was at the table, working a piece of worn leather. She stood by the sink, hands in water. "My husband," she said quietly. The words settled in the room. He didn't look up. He believed in a place where the land was rich. A pause. Gold mountains. Better life. Her hands stilled. He found dust. Another pause. Fever took him. Mining camp. Silence followed, not uncomfortable, just present. He finished the stitch, set the leather down. "This land doesn't care what you believe, only what you can endure." She nodded. "I know." No self-pity, no regret, just truth. The same truth he lived by. That night the cabin felt different again, not full, not empty, shared. It didn't last. It never did. A week later, dust rose on the horizon. Not one figure, a rider, fast, direct. He saw it first, always did, set his tools down slowly, watched. Behind him she stepped onto the porch, didn't ask, didn't need to. She could feel it coming. The horse was too clean, too strong. The man riding it too well dressed for this land. Boots polished, coat unmarked. Didn't belong. Which meant he owned something nearby, or thought he did. The rider slowed as he approached. Didn't dismount right away, just looked at the cabin, the fence, the garden. Then at her. A slow smile. Wrong. Measuring. The same way Griffin did, but for different reasons. Finally he spoke. "Well now," his voice smooth. Too smooth. "Didn't think you'd find yourself company out here." Griffin stepped forward slightly. Not aggressive, but enough. "What do you want?" The man ignored the question. His eyes stayed on her, taking in the dress, the dirt, the effort. Something in his expression shifted. Interest. Then calculation. ownership. He smiled again. This land, a small gesture around them. Last piece I need. Name your price. Flat, direct, like it was already done. Griffin didn't move. Not for sale. The smile faded slightly. Everything's for sale. A beat. You're living like a beggar on something worth more than you can use. His gaze flicked to her again. And now you've got mouths to feed. A pause. A man should think ahead. Silence stretched. She didn't look away, didn't lower her eyes, just held his gaze, still, unmoved. That surprised him. Good. Griffin saw it, filed it away. The man exhaled slowly, smile tightening. Have it your way. He turned the horse slightly, but didn't leave yet. Everything breaks eventually. A glance back. Men. Then at her. And everything they think they've built. He rode off, dust trailing behind him, silence settling heavy in his wake, the kind that doesn't lift quickly, only stepped closer. Small hand gripping Griffin's shirt again. He didn't move, didn't shake her off, didn't reassure, just stood there, watching the horizon, calculating. The test had been simple, until now. Now the world had entered it, and the rules were about to change. He didn't sleep that night. Not because of the rider, because of what would come after. Men like that didn't make offers twice. They removed obstacles. And out here, he was an obstacle. Before sunrise, he was already walking toward the creek, the one thing keeping everything alive. The air felt wrong, too still, too quiet. He saw it before he reached it. The water gone. Not dried, taken. The creek bed lay exposed, wet mud turning hard under the rising heat. He followed it, 1/2 mile, to the edge of his land, and there a wall of dirt and stone, crude, fresh, blocking the flow, redirecting everything away from him. He stood there, didn't touch it, didn't break it, just looked. That was the message. Not a fight, a slow ending. He turned, walked back, each step measured, final. By the time he reached the cabin, she was already outside, standing at the dry edge where water should have been. She didn't ask, didn't need to. Her eyes met his. Barrett? He nodded once. That was enough. She looked at the garden, leaves already curling, soil already tightening, everything she had worked for beginning to fail. She didn't cry, didn't rage, didn't look away. Her jaw set. What do we do? The word stayed between them. We. Not his land any more. Not his problem alone. The test had ended. She had chosen. Now, so did he. He looked at her, really looked, at the dirt on her hands, at the steadiness in her eyes, at the fact She hadn't stepped back. Most people would have. He made his decision. We leave. Her face shifted, just for a second. Not fear, loss. This place isn't what you think, he said. A beat. Pack what you need. No explanation, no reassurance, just direction. She held his gaze, then nodded, trusted him, without knowing why. The horse was ready within minutes. She climbed up, only settled in front of her, small hands gripping tight. He didn't lead them toward town, didn't take the road. He turned toward the ridge behind the cabin, the one no one used. Steep, rocked, leading nowhere, or so it seemed. They climbed in silence, loose stone shifting underfoot, heat pressing down, the cabin shrinking behind them, the dry land stretching wider. From above it looked worse, smaller, more fragile, easier to lose. She watched it, felt it, every instinct telling her this was wrong, that they were leaving everything behind, walking away. But she didn't speak, didn't question. She had learned he didn't move without reason. The climb was long, hard, the air thinner at the top. When they reached the crest, he stopped, didn't turn, just stood there. Then, "You came here with nothing," his voice carried in the open air. "You asked for nothing." A pause. "You stayed." Another. "You worked." He turned slightly. "I needed to know." She frowned. "Know what?" He didn't answer, not with words. He stepped aside, gestured forward. "Look." She urged the horse ahead. One step, two, then the world changed. Green, impossible green. A valley hidden beyond the ridge, wide, alive. A river cutting through it, clear, strong, endless. Cattle, hundreds, moving across rich grass. And in the center, a house. Not a cabin. Stone, timber, built to last. Built for more than survival. Built for a life. She stared. Didn't speak. Didn't move. Couldn't. Everything she thought she knew shifted. Behind her only leaned forward slightly, quiet, watching the same thing, understanding it in a way she couldn't yet name. He stepped beside her. "My father built this." Simple, like it meant nothing. But it did. It meant everything. "I let the world think." A pause. "This was all I had." A glance back toward the dry land, the cabin, the struggle. His voice lowered. "A filter, to keep the wrong people out." She looked at him, really looked, for the first time. Saw it. Not deception, protection. Loneliness. Years of it. "You tested me." Not accusation, understanding. He didn't deny it. Everyone takes, he said, a beat. I needed to know you wouldn't. Silence. Wind moving softly across the ridge. She looked back at the valley, at the life waiting below, then back at him. And now? He held her gaze, for once not guarded, not distant. Now I choose. A long pause. The man who came for this land, Barrett, he thinks he's cutting me off. A faint shift in his expression. He has no idea what he's done. Not anger, certainty. He'll be gone. Simple, final. Not a threat, a fact. She believed him, not because of the land, not because of the house, but because of everything before this. The work, the silence, the way he had watched her without interfering. He had never lied. He had just not told everything. The difference mattered. Below them, the valley waited, not as a reward, not as a promise, as a choice. And for the first time, it wasn't his alone.